Hey everybody, how's it going? Today I'm reviewing Song of Kali by Dan Simmons. I read this on an e-reader, so here's the cover. I'm going to awkwardly hold this here for you to check out until my arm gets tired. This was a really good book. This is Simmons' first book. It came out in 1985. And it's quite a dark book. We'll get into the genre in a minute, but it's basically about a poet, writer, a guy who works at an editing firm named Robert Luzak, and he learns of a old poet named M. Das who has been missing for years. And a new poem, presumably written by him, appears, and Robert, along with his wife Amrita and their baby daughter Victoria, travel to Kolkata in the late 70s to track this guy down. It's a pretty unsafe place at the time. Simmons really seems to, I believe he went there and seems to not have had a good time, but also describes it as being quite dangerous and very atmospherically written. While he's there, and this is no spoilers, I'm just giving you a brief summary, I don't want to ruin it. While he's there, he learns of a sort of weird religious cult that worships Kali, the Hindu god of destruction, death, a few other things, but not very pleasant, kind of scary. And things go downhill from there, and you can probably guess. I'm going to fix this real quick. My apologies. Now, I've read this kind of book a lot of times where, guy gets in over his head, involved with like some creepy cult, trying to track them down. Like I'm not spoiling anything. I'm sure you have read this kind of horror novel before, and my arm's getting tired. But the thing is, in this book, Simmons writes it in a very interesting way where I couldn't tell what was going to happen. And he plays around with your expectations of that sort of story. I truly couldn't ever tell what was going to happen. And this book doesn't have an aimless quality to it. It's just very hard to predict where the story's going. It's very fun. You have this urban fantasy sort of thing going on here with the goddess Kali and this cult. You have this sort of mystery thriller. There are some action-packed moments in here, thrilling moments, but you also have, just trying to find this poet. Can you really trust these people that he's talking to? It starts to get very odd. And then horror. There are some moments of horror in here that are just grim. And I will say, like, if you can't handle strong stuff, this book has some really intense moments in it. And they're sprinkled throughout. In particular, this won't mean anything if you haven't read it, but there's a scene that takes place in the dark that I thought was an incredibly effective horror scene. Just really, really, really well done. This book has, like, ambiguity in it, and it plays around with some hallucinogenic sort of scenes. And it's done just so tastefully to where you're not quite sure ever what's going on, but you kind of aren't totally in the dark and you're like not sure what's going on. It just gives you just enough to, I don't know, man, to just keep you reading. It's a very interesting book. I really enjoyed it. So I think I would give this like a B plus. It was very good. It was a really enjoyable read. I'm not like dying to read it again anytime soon, but I really liked it, and it's very short at 200 and about 270, so it's probably a 250-page book. You could read this in a couple sittings. It's very quick. So yeah, if you want an interesting sort of gripping mystery thriller with some very, very dark horror, check it out. Having just read Summer of Night, I can see Simmons' style. His prose is phenomenal. He changes his prose to suit what he's writing, or even the action. So, for instance, this book, in general, he tends to be a slower author. His pacing is slow. He's not a quick read author. He sets the stage and the atmosphere and the characters, who are very well written and very defined. But when things get crazy, they get crazy, and the writing reflects that. At times, I even like the writing in here more than Summer of Night, but I think overall I like that book more. But that's that book. So, anyways, one more look at the cover. This is Song of Kali. I haven't said too much about it, but it's an easy book to kind of spoil. So yeah, if you haven't read it, I recommend it if you want a good quick horror read. I'll be back with another book probably. If you've read this one, let me know, or any other Simmons, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.